We will now call to order the pre-council meeting this Monday, November 18th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. in the council chambers. Mayor Terry Darcy presiding.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Darcy.
Here.
Councilman Cardenas.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda is a presentation on the 2024 Economic Development Update by Paulina Martinez, Economic Development Director.
Good evening. Just we got it for it. Okay, great. Awesome. All right, good evening, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Paulina Martinez. I'm the Economic Development Director. I also want to introduce my colleague, Emily McGuire, who is our new Economic Development Specialist, and she has been with us for 3 weeks now.
Good evening, Council. Yes, I am Emily McGuire, and I'm the Economic Development Specialist, and this is about my 3rd or 4th week, and I'm very excited to be here.
We also have a third member, Casey Nettie, who is in classes tonight, so she couldn't be here. She's completing her undergraduate degree at the University of Illinois at Chicago, but she should be joining us upon graduation in December. So can we go to the next slide, please? I just want to give you a quick overview of what we're going to be going over today. We're going to review some internal indicators that will include business licenses, building permits, construction valuation, taxes, some external indicators as well, including unemployment rate, job postings, vacancy rates. I'm going to talk about some select projects, and I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of some of the strategies that my team is working on to keep economic development moving forward. So right here, as you can see, is just a depiction of business licenses since 2021, as well as a monthly breakdown of business licenses in 2024. As you can see, in 2022, there is definitely an uptake in business licenses. That is mainly because a lot of the people that had projects in 2020 and 2021 that couldn't get to them because of pandemic restrictions or just a slowdown in some of the materials and the uptake in prices for building materials. They started doing it in 2022. But overall, I think we're on track for 2024 to at least break into the 80s in terms of business license numbers. But overall this year, I would say that it was a pretty steady year in terms of number of business licenses issued per month, with the exception of July, which we had 15 business licenses issued that month. And these are new business licenses. I just want to make that clear. We also have a category of business licenses that are transferred if a business is sold. So these are purely new businesses. All right, for business permits, the trend has gone down. We have issued less business building permits, in the last 4 years. This is pretty consistent with the macroeconomics that we've been seeing at a national level. With higher interest rates, it is obviously more expensive to borrow money. Materials have also gotten more expensive. But overall, even though we had less permits, the value of the construction, the investment that builders are making in Joliet has gone up a little bit. So over here you can see the overall construction valuation. So this includes industrial, it includes commercial as well as residential construction valuation. We're already outpacing 2023, even though the number of construction permits has gone down. So that talks about the investment and just the scope of the project as well. From last year, from October 2023 to October 2024, the change is 204% up from last year. All right, and this is just a breakdown of industrial and commercial construction in terms of the valuation as well as the square footage. For the square footage, as you can see, with industrial, we have really slowed down as we continue to reevaluate the priorities in Joliet and what makes sense where. The industrial square footage has slowed down, which makes sense. This is just a quick overview of our taxes that we've been collecting that more directly impact economic development, including gaming tax, sales tax, hotel tax, real estate transfer tax. It's only the gaming tax and the real estate transfer tax that are a little behind from last year, but other from that, all the other tax categories are doing slightly better than last year. So with the external indicators, we have unemployment rate. For the month of September, we had a 5.7 unemployment rate in Joliet, which actually went down a little bit from the month prior, which was 6.2, I believe. Overall, we have 4,500 unemployed individuals in Joliet and a total labor force of 77,000. When compared to the wider region for Chicagoland, as well as the state and the country as a whole, we do have a higher unemployment rate, but that has historically been true of Joliet. And I just kind of wanted to give you a brief synopsis of the type of jobs that people are advertising and the companies are looking for employees. So some of the positions that are being sought after are nurses, a lot of warehousing, as well as a lot of truck drivers. As you can see, nurses are kind of like the hardest ones to get to find candidates for in the area. This is for Will County. I'm hoping that by the next time I give you this report, which I'm hoping will be on a quarterly basis, I'll have data more specific to Joliet. But this is for Will County today. And so some of the top companies that are looking for employees in the area are Walmart, RJW Logistics, Silver Cross Hospital, and the last, Swing Education, which I thought was interesting. So that's basically a company that sends out substitute teachers to schools, which kind of goes back to the second chart of top industries in Will County, which is employment placement agencies. And this is vacancy rate by business districts. I just kind of want to point out the downtown, the overall vacancy rate is 9.6, but that is retail and office space combined. The vacancy rate for office space in downtown, it is higher, which really threw off that number, but actually our vacancy rate for retail in downtown is less than 3%. We have a less than 3% vacancy rate in downtown Joliet. And overall, citywide, for commercial, industrial, as well as office, we have a 13.6 vacancy rate in Joliet. But we still have pretty affordable space with an asking rate average of less than $11. And I just wanted to talk about some select projects that we've been working with in the last year. So one of them is PQ Corporation. This company has actually been in Joliet for a little over 100 years. They're a chemical company that works with silica and basically all chemicals that go into green products, so toothpaste, tires, things like that. And they recently invested $1 million in Joliet to create an R&D facility, research and development facility. So they made Joliet their center of research and development. This is a global company that has a presence in Mexico, presence in Brazil, presence in other parts of the United States. Their headquarters are in Pennsylvania, and they decided to make Joliet their main site for R&D. They have 60 employees, half of them are union employees, and they built a 5,000 square foot facility for research and development. Some of the incentive project that we've had this year is World Automotive at 1705 West Jefferson. I don't know if you've driven by there, but it's looking pretty nice. They have done some facade improvements there. We gave them $820,500 in share sales taxes. And we're testing out a requirement of 25% local hiring, which for this project specifically would represent about 5 employees that they would hire from the community. So we're hoping that that will yield to positive results and work with more companies that are seeking incentives to also provide some community benefits. And the Murphy Building, of course, 311 North Ottawa, that was bought by Mr. John Bass, our local developer. We provided him with $400,000 in TIF money upfront, as well as an annual deal for 14 years, I'm sorry, of annual payments. That will be rehabbing 139 residential units, and that building will be added to our tax rolls. Other projects that we participated on for this year are some of the ribbon cuttings along with some of our partners like the Joliet Chamber of Commerce, the City Center Partnership, as well as Joliet Leda. We've had a couple ribbon cuttings with some small businesses, some bigger businesses like Tortazo and El Güero, which finally opened. That project has received incentives from the City of Joliet, and they did a soft launching a week ago, just about, and they are planning a bigger ribbon cutting, so once they are ready for that, I will definitely let you know. Also, the Matisse, the Old St. Mary's Church on Ottawa Street is underway. They received their SHPO, their Historic Preservation Office certificate, so the project is ready to move forward. And we also worked with the planning department to put together a panel of developers through the Urban Land Institute. So we had a couple developers come to Joliet, and we walked them around to different sites for our ETOD plan, and they gave us a lot of good feedback and a lot of ideas of how to move forward with our ETOD plan. And I will let Emily take over.
Thank you, Paulina. So one of the first practices the economic development team are working to implement would be site visits for both new and existing businesses. Our department has designed an in-person and online form that will allow us to collect quantitative and qualitative data that can be utilized to advance our policies and performance when looking at business retention and attraction. Also, our team, along with Rose Maria, have been working on executing different marketing strategies that will allow the city to control our narrative and change any public misconceptions. Our staff plans to utilize multiple social media platforms as well as a digital newsletter to efficiently communicate with our stakeholders in addition to promoting the City of Joliet. We are open to any feedback and suggestions the City Council may have when regarding these avenues. Additionally, the Economic Development team is working to create and implement a business guide that will provide a detailed overview of the city's policies and practices for new businesses and developments. The guide will include how-tos, available resources, and contact information for necessary departments. I'll turn it back to Paulina.
Yeah. In addition to that, something else that we want to work on is a site selector showcase. So that means that we want to work with our real estate community, identify priority sites or sites that have been vacant for a while, and attract regional developers as well as regional brokers, and also at the national level, bring them to Joliet, tour them around, see the sites, and see the potential of investing in Joliet. And lastly, I want to create cheerleaders for Joliet. I want to create affinity groups with our local economic development community-based organizations, with our real estate community, our higher education institutions as well, to kind of like tap them in when projects are coming into town for attraction purposes, retention purposes, or just kind of be like the spokespersons for Joliet and help us tell the narrative without always coming from the city, right? Because we're only one organization, it's only 9 of you, and if we can organize a community around us to tell our story as well. That's something that we want to do. And that's all I have. Any questions?
No. Good review, thank you.
Very nice, thank you.
Mayor.
Job.
Mayor. Yeah, hey, Joe.
Yeah, thank you so much for that presentation. I think you hit on a couple points that I brought up many months ago. I think we need to be ultra aggressive and look outside of Joliet for potential investors that want to move their company to Joliet. I think that's very important. Also, feedback. I know I spoke about it before. I think it's very important that we reach out to the building trades, and they have a lot of resources. I've seen a lot of these companies that have been going to other jurisdictions, other municipalities. I love to bring them here to Joliet. So I know I brought that up many months ago, but I think that's another avenue to go down. So
Absolutely.
thank you
noted.
so much
Thank
for
you.
your presentation.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone who would like to speak under citizens to be heard on agenda items?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you for giving me just a few moments to address you. Many of you I know personally and have worked with and had relationships with. Some I've met for the first time and maybe the second time. I refereed Joe's wrestling matches when he was in middle school and high school. I'm Bishop Dr. Stephen Evans, and I'm here representing the effort to rename a portion of Monroe Street after my mother, Reverend Genevieve Brown. I'm the eldest of her 5 children, and we think that one of the highest honors that we could afford her would be to have a street renamed after her, in addition to how we live our lives and what we do in our communities, which was inspired by her. Just briefly, I'm a bishop and a doctor. I pastor a church. I sit on boards locally and nationally. My brother, Ardale Evans, who lived here and did a lot of work in the community, he's the president of the Exchange Club in California and Nevada. I've got a sister who's a doctor and retired from Alabama A&M. My youngest sister retired from Lockheed Martin. And the baby boy, David, is a store manager, a district manager for a large chain of stores in Huntsville, Alabama. All of that is because of the inspiration of our mom. She was a mover and a shaker. And again, she's my greatest inspiration. I call her my shiro. And so again, we would be honored if we could have the street that we grew up on, in the house that we grew up in, to be honorarily renamed after Reverend Genevieve Brown. Thank you so much for your time. If you don't need anything else from me, I'll see you tomorrow, and I'm going home.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Reverend,
Bless you.
can I come with you?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, just real quick, you were also in a movie, Weeds. Weeds back. Yep. So.
Weeds with Nick Nolte and One in a Million with LeVar Burton.
Yep. So. Yep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Hi.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on agenda items? Okay, seeing none. Next, we will have the city manager review tomorrow night's actionable items.
Okay, we'll start with the consent agenda. Council Memo 53624, award a contract for the Well Rock 3 emergency rehabilitation to Water Well Solutions LLC in the amount of $181,197. Council Memo 53724, award of contract for the Well 28D rehabilitation to Great Lakes Water Resources Group in the amount of $184,226. Council Memo 53824, award of contract for the Public Utilities Department portable generator purchase project to Metropolitan Industries in the amount of $139,999. Council Memo 53924, award of contract to CDWG for the 2024 GenTAC replacement program for public safety in the amount of $144,412.84. Council Memo 54024, award of contract to Evolve Software for Project Docs E-Plan Review Software Annual Renewal in the amount of $35,400. Council Memo 54124, award of contract to Granicus for public meeting management suite annual renewal in the amount of $69,885.54. Council Memo 54224, award of contract for the Pilcher Park Highland Park Drive culvert repair project to Lennon Cox Sons Excavating in the amount of $187,990. Council Memo 54324, award of professional services agreement for the I-80 Des Plaines River Bridge Community Plan to CDM Smith in an amount not to exceed $392,000. Council Memo 54424, professional services agreement for preliminary engineering for the 2026 water system rehabilitation program to Baxter and Woodman, Inc. in the amount of $866,400. Council Memo 54524, purchase of one bucket truck from Custom Truck One Source, Inc. in the amount of $157,012. Moving on to agenda items, council memo. Oh, does somebody have a question? No? Okay. Council memo 54724, award of contract for the 2024 resurfacing contract B, MFT section to PT Farrow Construction Company in the amount of $2,019,296.84. Council Memo 548-24, Amendment Number 4 to the Professional Services Agreement for the Alternative Water Source Program to Stantec Consulting Services in the amount of $117,057,335.
Mayor, I think I want to take a moment here to explain this so it doesn't scare the hell out of everybody.
Yeah.
117 million is 15 million more than was originally estimated, because we're saving 15 million by moving it off the roadway right-of-ways, water system, to a new location which we weren't aware of until the engineers got into it, with ComEd right-of-ways. So it's a better place to put it. So it's a wash on, it's gonna cost 15 million extra in engineering fees to do this, but we're gonna save 15 million on where we're putting it. And this 117, which was originally 102 million, this is a phase by phase. This was in the budget, this was expected, this is not a change order. This is not a surprise, like we have to spend this money on engineering. We will now go to this phase. If we award this, which I'm confident we will, we'll use that up in this phase, which leads into the construction in the next 2 years as well. And then there'll be another one down the road when this money's used up for the next phase. So this is not something new, it's something that was in the budget. And so for deep thinkers, people that are concerned about this, are like-minded to Councilman Guerrero, who likes to hear about the big numbers, right? This was planned, and there'll be other ones down the road that's already in the budget. So that's why I wanted to share, because otherwise you could scare the heck out of a lot of people.
Thank you.
Moving on to licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 550-24, resolution to deny issuance of Class CG liquor license at 91 Airport Drive, Joliet Gas and Food. We have one of our liquor commissioners here if there are any questions.
Any questions?
No questions? Okay, Council Memo 551-24, resolution to deny issuance of Class CG liquor license at 1411 Riverboat Center Drive, Riverboat Gas and Food. Any questions for our liquor commissioner on that one? Okay, thank you. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions. Council Memo 553-24, ordinance approving a special use permit to allow massage therapy business located at 3078 Caton Farm Road. The petitioner is here if you have any questions for her. She has been operating, been a licensed massage therapist, and with 10 years experience, she's just coming into compliance with the special use. So she's here if anyone wants to ask any questions. So.
Yeah, questions. More so with staff. You know, and like any industry, whether it's a liquor store or marijuana store or massage therapy, there's good and there's bad, and I'm sure she's good. How do we monitor that when we give these out?
Dustin?
Just so I understand the question, Councilor Hug, is the question, how do we monitor the number of massage?
No, the operations itself.
The operation itself?
You did read that there was a raid in Lennox, one of their therapeutic massage centers recently. So how do we monitor to try to prevent that from happening?
Well, I would have to say that most massage therapy locations are operating within the scope of the law, and the Operation New Lenox was probably brought forward by a complaint or an observation from an adjoining business or a guest that got a bad feeling. So I wouldn't be able to tell you from a law enforcement perspective if they do routine sweeps of these establishments. From a land use perspective, working with the clerk's office, we do, like we see here, bring these businesses into compliance with our local rules and regulations. And from an exterior perspective, we do monitor if they are in compliance with our land use regulations for exterior appearance.
So this petitioner already operates in Joliet?
They do. It's very similar to the one we saw earlier. So maybe
where do they operate exactly?
Pardon?
Where is the current building?
Where is the current building?
Is it the same one that we're reviewing today, or are they moving to a new?
No, this is an ongoing business that is currently an ongoing concern who renewed their business license, and it was noticed that they did not have a special use permit for this business. So this petitioner, this resident who has been operating in the city is coming to the city council to come into compliance with our local regulations. They're not moving, they're not new, they have existed, and they are coming into compliance because they were flagged in a routine review of their business license by the clerk's office.
So they've been here, I think you said, for 10 years already, operator, at the same location we're discussing in
Yes.
special use.
Right, your neighborhood.
Right, that's why I'm asking him. So we're not bringing a new business.
No,
We're not moving a business.
correct.
We have a business that's established for roughly a decade, a good reputation in the city already.
Accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, it was mentioned earlier that there was a similar agenda item that we had with the massage therapy business that also was seeking a special use permit. And it was mentioned that in this case that the applicant was renewing their business license, and that was what kind of flagged the lack of a special use permit currently. Is there anything that we're doing to sort of be proactive on that front? Because this is not the first time that we've had a business that's been in operation for some time, and then are noticing after the fact that they require a special use permit, do not have one currently, and we're kind of doing that sort of retroactively almost. And not just in the instance of massage therapies. I believe there was some trucking facilities that have had the same issue. So is there anything that we can do to kind of be a little more proactive on that, find those businesses that would require a special use permit and make sure that we're bringing them into compliance rather than kind of noticing it once they're renewing their license?
Right. So I would say that, yes, we already are carrying that out. It's all underway. Our business services division within the clerk's office, the reason we have so many of these are because they're paying attention now. Mm-hmm. And they check to see if they have all requirements, which wasn't being done before, number one. That's why we have a lot of them coming into compliance. And yes, we are, we have, how many staff people in that division? Two. And they work pretty tirelessly. We could use more if you want to give me more in the budget, but they work pretty tirelessly to really try to keep track of these businesses and existing ones, make sure they're in compliance. And business licenses are renewed every 1 to 2 years. Mm-hmm. So, I think we're on track now. I would say that before it wasn't really being looked at. Mm-hmm. And now we're very cognizant, and we have 2 very capable people who are catching these things as they come through.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no further questions on that. Council Memo 55424, ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a used truck dealership located at 251 Republic Avenue. I'd like to note that the Zoning Board of Appeals recommended denial of this item 4-2. And although it used to be a truck facility, and as far as our planning department is concerned, you know, if at once it was a truck facility, it could be again. However, there are a lot of other considerations for this location. I know that Councilwoman Reardon's, you know, had issues with this property before. Councilman Mudron, who is the local council person, is opposed. And I talked to Jan Quillman earlier today about like the history of this property, and that we talked about it 5 or 6 years ago becoming like more of a medical area facility. So I'll let the council members ask their questions and speak for themselves. But we're not opposed if the council would like to vote this down because of the impact it's having on the community and the residents.
I'll just say a couple statements. I do have an office just down the street from that facility, and it's really become a nuisance as it currently is. I've called the city many times because of truck trailers being parked on the street, sometimes right across from each other. People are trying to maneuver around. They stay overnight. It gets dark. It's not easy to see. You could easily rear end one of them, and it's just a danger to the area when these trucks are parked out there on the street. It's not a very wide road. Then people are going into oncoming traffic to go around them. It's been a problem, and I don't see this change into the different type of business making it any better. For that reason and all the complaints I've gotten from that existing business, I would not be voting to approve this.
Mayor, question. So is this an existing business, the same, where it's renewing and we just caught the special use, or are they looking to get a whole new business now?
He's looking to sell the existing owner of the property is looking to sell the property
Gotcha.
to this gentleman that's coming in, and the size of the property doesn't warrant the amount of traffic I feel that is going to be there. I got calls from neighbors that felt similar to Councilman Reardon, that trucks are parked out there. This is a medical TIF district that we're trying to develop in that direction, and that's the direction I feel we should go with it.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, we had talked about this about 6 or 7 years ago, is making it a medical campus. So since Silver Cross left, and then St. Joe's has gone under so many different owners and names, and this new people are coming in, they're calling it St. Joe's Hospital, so it's going back to St. Joseph. So it would be nice if we could tap onto that, because it is a TIF, and get some of the docks back and do make it a medical campus, because third largest city in the state of Illinois, I think we need a big medical campus. So that, I'm going along with that as well. I agree.
Mayor? Councilman Mudron, this is your district, right?
It is.
Okay, and you're in opposition.
I'm an opposite, and I came to the zoning meeting to oppose them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any further comments?
Thank you.
Great. Council Memo 55524, ordinance amending Chapter 31 of the Code of Ordinances in regard to local limits and administrative enforcement remedies. This is US EPA stuff. We can have Allison speak to it if anyone has any questions, but it's a requirement by the United States government. Council Memo 55624, ordinance amending and restating ordinance 17928, which established salary ranges and fringe benefits for non-union employees. It's an amendment to group health insurance for our exempt employees. I want to make that clear. It's exempt employees, not for unions that needs to be collectively bargained for with them. So this would just be for exempt. Do we want to talk about it tonight? Anybody have any questions tonight, or would you rather hold till tomorrow?
Mayor? Yeah, I just have a few comments. I want to be part of the solution.
Good,
I think everybody up here does.
yeah.
I just think, I've had many calls from retirees, exempt employees, and I feel like we're ramming this through. We have to do something. I think everybody's on board with that.
So are you talking about retirees for their health care?
About the healthcare.
Yeah, so I met with the unions last week, and they had the same concern, that it was being rushed, and they really wanted a seat at the table, and I thought that was a really fair point. So I was able to say to them, I think you're right, I think we should all sit at the table and decide this over the next year. So that is no longer in the proposal.
Yeah, and if I can just add to that,
Yeah.
I just think we're rushing it with the non-exempt employees. It was said that it was said that this is what non-union employees want. This healthcare, different packages. They want to add more. I just think that we should send out a survey, see what everybody wants. The people I spoke to, this was brought out on Tuesday, and there was like a Zoom meeting, and I just feel like it's being rushed.
We have briefed the exempt employees. We've been answering questions since. I'd love to speak with you offline about it, because the majority of the people that I'm hearing from, it's a better plan. It's cheaper, and they still have the option of staying with the plan that we have now. It just gets a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
So we have options.
And conversely, I, over the years, as a council person, have had so many people ask me about why do we not provide preventative. So preventative creates a healthier staff, because people go to the doctor at least once a year regularly to get this screenings and everything you would do annually at 100% coverage. And I personally am switching to this plan if it's approved, because I've done the numbers, and I realize that this is a better plan for me and my husband, and it's not something I'm pushing through personally for us. I mean, we certainly have a very good plan now, but I would like to have the preventative.
Yeah, and I'm all in favor of that. The people that I spoke to have never been briefed or talked or asked anything, so I don't know who we're talking to. I mean, that's why I was thinking if we could get a survey to see, okay, we could tell the public, and we all know, okay, 80% of the people responded. This is what we like to see. All the people that I spoke to, they were never spoken to.
I would love to know who those are, because we got a
Well,
great.
I'm not going to do that.
Well, we got a great response from the people who were. I'm just giving you the information that we had a Teams meeting for all exempt employees, and we had nearly all exempt employees on that. I think we had like 80 out of 100 something. And all the feedback that we're getting, or my directors are getting, has been pretty good. Like, in fact, some of them are like, what's the catch here? Like, am I really going to get preventative care? This is something they've really been asking for a long time. So,
yeah, and I'm in favor of that. I'm glad we're being proactive, and like I said, I want to be part of the solution. I just think it'd be better if we could talk totally to the 900 employees, right, instead of single.
yeah, and we will, and that's what
Right.
that's what came out of my meeting with the unions, that they really wanted a seat at the table. For retiree health care, so we're completely pressing pause on that, and I think they understood that it's time that the city council do something about our insurance, because it's really like a plan from the 80s. I mean, we passed this thing before the Affordable Care Act, so we're not in compliance there. We're grandfathered in. But I don't know of another city that doesn't have preventative care for women. There's a number of things that we could all list, but we've worked out with the Blue Cross Blue Shield that we can offer this plan. People can still keep the other plan. They just have to pay a little bit more. But if you want to pay less and get the preventative care and other, up-to-date medical plans, this is still the Bentley, or I don't know, Mayor, what's the fanciest car?
Rolls-Royce.
Rolls-Royce. This is the city of Joliet still has the Rolls-Royce of, and I was honest with the unions about that. Like, it's time that we start to offer more here, especially if we can save the city money, which we'll do. You know, it's only 250,000 for the year for the exempts, but eventually, if we can get everybody on board, like you said, I mean, that can save us, what is it, Kevin, over 10 years, $6 million?
$9 million over this next 6 years.
So even $9 million over the next 6 years. That's a lot of streets, that's a lot of sidewalks, that's a lot of things that we really need to do. And it's really just modernizing what's in insurance. I mean,
Still offering great care.
Still offering wonderful care at very, very low cost.
Yeah, thank you for the dialogue, and no, I'm hearing your great points. I feel like we're rushing it. That's just my opinion. I feel like we can get more data from the 100+ employees.
I hear you.
And I feel like we are walking over $100 bills to save pennies at this point. And it's very important. That's just what I feel. I don't know. I know you're saying that we're saving, but I think if we could do it as a huge group, it may be more beneficial. And if we just slow it down a little, that was just my opinion. I appreciate all your work. And
Yeah,
Kevin's
no,
work.
same. I appreciate your opinion.
Yeah, so thank you.
Can I comment on this a little bit?
Sure.
You know, this city's been locked into an insurance plan, non-negotiable since 2016. And it was an archaic plan to begin with. In 2016, we invested $22 million in health care. It's gone up 6% a year. This year, our health care costs to the city, to the residents, $32 million. If we continue that pace and follow to the 2030 agreement, we'll be at $42 million in health care costs to the city. What we're trying to do is modernize the health insurance and also at the same time try and bring down the cost. I mean, right now, our overall budget, this is 10% of our budget. That's unheard of in business. So the idea that we're bringing this out to the exempt employees makes sense. This has nothing to do with the collective bargaining agreement. We're handcuffed to that. And I'll say that politely. We're handcuffed to that deal. But we've got to make some changes. The definition of insanity is doing what you did over and over and expecting something to change. So I agree with you, but there was no rush job on this. The unions felt there was a rush job. This is not affecting the collective bargaining agreement. And they've agreed to sit down next year. Every quarter, we're going to start working on what could be better for your members and what can be better for the city. Because it's very, very expensive what this plan has been set at in 2016. I've never seen a collective bargaining agreement go beyond the borders of 3 or 4 years. How this ever got to a 14-year deal, I will never understand. And if I were sitting on this council at that time, there was no way that I would have allowed this to happen. I've been in collective bargaining for 34 years, so it's time we make a change. And I think our union members understand that many of them are residents, so it's going to cost them in their pocketbooks more money as well. So we do have to make this change. I don't feel there's any rush in this, Joe. The unions agree that they're going to sit down and talk about how to better their coverage and maybe save the city some money.
Yeah, I think we're all committed to trying to help out the city. The unions have been clear that, you know, this is a city they work in, they love, and they'd like to work on the problem with us. So I think that's a good direction to take altogether. Any other comments? Okay, resolutions. Council Memo 55824, resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the 2024 resurfacing contract B MFT in the amount of $2,019,296.84. Council Memo 55924, resolution approving an honorary street name for Reverend Genevieve Brown Way for Monroe Street between the Des Plaines River and Water Street. And we all heard from Bishop Dr. Evans earlier, and then he went home. So I think that we're all in support of that as well. And that concludes the agenda.
Okay. Next is public comment. Is there anyone who would like to address the council this evening?
Council members, hey, you know, you're talking about that healthcare thing. Yeah, get all the healthcare you guys can get, you know, because healthcare is so important. I mean, I don't care how much money you make or whatever, everybody needs health care. You know, because the older we get, the more aches and pains our bodies are gonna have, and the worse our health gets and everything as time goes on. So having good health coverage is very important, but I unfortunately don't have any health coverage, not even Medicaid, so nothing, so I know how important health care coverage is. But my point, you know, I come here tonight because of experience I had last Friday with Catholic Charities. I tried to get my discount on my plate sticker from that discount for people with low income plate sticker thing. I was told by Catholic Charities I was all set on it. I go to DMV office to get my plate sticker, and I'm told that no, nothing was done about it. And I'm going through hell with Catholic Charities on Friday, trying to get my answers to what happened here, why wasn't this done, because I was trying ever since last December to get this thing done, and I was told by Catholic Charities that it was done. And I ended up going through hell Friday night with them, with Catholic Charities, call them, and nobody knows anything about it. Nobody will give me answers or will call for anything, and it just tore me apart mentally. Mentally, I was a wreck. I was very pissed, and then they had the nerve, I had to went down to the Cass Street building, and they wanted me to walk around the back of the building in the total darkness with my handicap to get in the door because the lady was too lazy to open the door to talk to me. She's trying to talk me through the glass door, and I can't hear her with the traffic going on Cass Street. I tried telling her, I can't hear you too good, you know, would you just open the door? All she had to do was open the door, we could have talked, but she didn't want to do that. She wanted me to walk all the way around the building in total darkness as we know how bad the crimes are getting in Joliet. And that just tore me apart. But then I go home later on that night, and I'm looking on the internet, and I find out that Catholic Charities got an award from the Illinois Department of Aging Department about getting people for people, seniors and disability people, getting them these benefits that they deserve. They were just awarded that 2 days before, or a day before. So how is it anybody at Catholic Charities doesn't know nothing about this discount program for the plate sticker for people with low income and disabilities? Now that just totally made me mad. And then on top of it all, I have my social worker that's working with me with my homeless situation, and she said she had me all set. I am just getting frustrated with this, how people people who work at these agencies don't know crap of what they're doing, but then they put me through all the mental stress and everything. And also the young workers in the stores and everything, young people are getting to where they're pissing off the older people. I'm getting to where I go in the stores anymore. These young workers are just sitting there doing things that piss me off and everything, and it's just getting to me. I had a couple weeks ago at Walmart, I had a situation, I'm trying to help the young Walmart employees with the display model that's sitting there in the clearance aisle, and I'm thinking, hey, this don't belong here. And they're giving me hell. And then I go up front, another young worker standing right by the front manager, I give the thing to Anna, front manager of Walmart there. Young worker says, well, maybe he thought you were a customer. Well, my friend Anna, that's a store manager in front, manager, she looked at him and says, she is a customer. Like, how dare you treat the customer like this? These are these young workers in the stores who keep just doing stuff. And I think that's gotta change. That tread with these young
Kathy, well
people
said.
gotta change.
We've got our 4 minutes. Thank you.
That's it, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening? Okay. Seeing none, I did receive a request for closed session.
So moved.
Hold on a second, Mr. Mayor.
Of course.
Yeah, Beth, I don't, this was gonna wait till tomorrow, but I'd like to do it today.
Sure.
L Steakhouse,
Yeah.
the camp is back over there.
Oh, it is?
Yes, so
Okay.
if Chief Carey and Chief Evans and Neighborhood Services, yeah, it's bigger than before. If we can maybe try to get on that.
Okay, thanks for
Thank you
letting
so
us
much.
know.
I didn't want to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudron?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillen?
Oh, yes.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Was that over there?